You know, there's something that really makes me laugh, and that is when people ask questions on a text message, but they use an exclamation point instead of a question mark. I don't know if you're like this too. The last couple of days, I've been like deep in research on camera upgrades, and I keep having to remind myself that if I can't make decent videos on this and on this, I am not going to make good videos on a better camera. Oh, this is not going to be a good news. So my thought is like, and I understand there's a lot that goes into making good videos, and I'm amateur at best. Panda, ready to go. Well, she at least went that time. She didn't bring it back though. She never does. And now we're going to attempt to leave. And she is not going to want to come with us. I guarantee you that. Go on, go on. So we got them all leashed. We're going to see how the autofocus does while we try and navigate our way back upstairs. So anyway, the idea, obviously, oh hi, you silly Billy. Idea is to use what you got. You don't need like to go buy a new camera, to buy a bunch of new stuff, because you have the tools that are going to actually make a difference in whatever you're doing, photography or business or whatever else. Like, you have them. It's your hands, it's your mind, it's your brain, it's your ability to adapt. Because the tools they're just tools. Like a hammer is a hammer is a hammer, and just because you spend $1,500 on a hammer doesn't mean you can pound nails better than a guy who spent $30 on a hammer. You know what I mean? It just all has to do with how do you know how to use what you've got. But the truth is I don't need that camera. I got one. And as analytics are showing, most people can't even watch these videos in 4K anyway. So why make them in 4K? I mean, all you're doing when you shoot in 4K and edit in 4K and render in 4K is increasing the time output. So the point is, I think I'm gonna start shooting everything in 1080, just editing in 1080, until, like, the other thing to think about is, my computer can't even handle 4K. Seriously, it can't. So I think that taking this approach gives me the opportunity to think about things a little bit smarter. Like I have to be more, I don't know. It's actually kind of funny because it comes down to, well, you know what, let me just sit in my chair. A lot of this comes from a video that I saw from Sean Tucker, who's a photographer. He's on Instagram and he's on YouTube, and he's really good, and I like his work. But he talked about you need to find your consistency. You need to find like your voice and the way that you shoot and the way that you film. And specifically, he's talked a lot about shooting photographs in JPEG. And I remember when I first started shooting more than just as a hobbyist, when I discovered shooting RAW, it was almost like I had been left out of the party. Like I was like, I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't realize what was even possible. I've been shooting JPEG for a long time before that. And so since then, I've just had the setting on RAW and I've gone forever that way. But it turns out that like, sometimes shooting RAW doesn't actually help you. And he actually, when he goes out and does street photography, he doesn't even shoot RAW, he shoots in JPEG. It's not so much that image quality is better one way versus the other, because I think you can get whatever image quality you want regardless. I think the point that he's making and the point that I took from it is, if you think about composing your shots, setting up the end product first, if you approach the project, you approach the shoot, you approach whatever it is with the end in mind, you're gonna make some different choices. So when I start thinking about shooting in JPEG, I start thinking about shooting less, better. So fewer photos, but composing them correctly, getting the settings right in my camera so that when I actually expose the image, it's right from the get-go. Because it's not just about, Like, it's not that shooting a bunch of photos and then going back through in Lightroom and editing just the ones that are good and using the raw capabilities to make a difference. It's not like that's a bad thing. Like, I shot a whole session at a Muay Thai class here locally, and I ran over there and took a bunch of pictures and used raw. And the beauty of it was that afterwards, the lighting in there is really cool. And so I was able to drop the exposure in certain areas and increase the exposure in others and create this real cool contrast between the lights and what was happening, because the sun was setting. And so there was a sunset in the background and lots of really deep shadows and stuff, which is cool. But at the same time, last night I pulled out my camera and flipped it over to JPEG, and I thought, okay, let's be a little bit more specific about what I'm trying to get here. Took a couple of shots and started to get more in tune with like the exposure settings and getting it right when I shoot it. And I took a couple of shots that, like, they're now my favorite photos. Now, granted, I think part of that's the subject matter is the two dogs. But the truth is, like, what I already had allowed me to get what I was looking for without having to upgrade my hardware. It was upgrading my software, this software. So I think that's the big difference. You don't approach everything like, I need to go get this thing because the thing is going to make me better at what I do, because it's not. What's going to make you better at what you do is doing the thing and constantly improving yourself, constantly looking for situations where you're trying to get better at the thing that you do, the craft. Have faith in yourself and upgrade your software before you upgrade your hardware. My name is Brett Martineau. This is Think Like Me or Don't, and we will see you in the next video.